Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. Well, today is another incredibly exciting day for me because right here in front of me, I've got the brand new EVO Lite Plus drone from our good friends over at Autel. And I've been waiting to get my hands on this drone ever since we started seeing leaks about a new drone coming from Autel. And then we got some pictures, then we got some specifications, and I thought, man, they've really got a cool drone coming. When's that thing going to be released? And finally, this morning, the doorbell rang, and there on my front porch was the brand new drone. So I haven't opened the box yet. I'm going to get into it in a minute, but I wanted to spend a minute or two talking about sort of the evolution of what this drone represents for Autel, because they've been in the drone business a long time, and I've been flying their drones since way back in the X-Star days. I thought they made a really nice platform there, and then they shifted to a foldable drone called the EVO. And I flew that since the day it was released. I still fly this today. It's out in the field with me a lot. It's up in the air a lot. I use it for a lot of photography in the field, filming other drones, and just having fun flying it. And then a couple years later, they released the EVO 2, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on that one. And sure enough, they released two versions of that. This is the bigger one, the 6K, and this is the smaller one, the 4K. And it was a wonderful drone. It was really ahead of its time as far as how long it could stay up in the air, the quality of the image it could take, the video and everything else about it was just a tremendously good drone. And I still fly these today. I have them out in the field with me all the time. They're up in the air. I just love these drones. I think they've really built sort of a platform that made it easier to fly in a lot of ways, but more importantly, their cinematography aspects of it, the control I have over how I record the video, what kind of pictures I take, really was just great. And honestly, overall, I love competition because I spend a lot of time flying drones, and there's 4 or 5 big companies out there that are manufacturing drones today, and competition is a really good thing. Having a company like Autel out there challenging anybody else to build a drone and come out with some new products that change the game a little bit, maybe have it fly a little longer, improve the video, maybe improve the distance it can fly, build in automated features, is a really good thing for all of us because it drives everybody to move forward. It also helps with pricing because the more competition in the marketplace, the better the pricing is going to be. So when I heard about this brand new EVO Lite, I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. Why did they call it Lite? And it turns out, and I haven't opened the box yet, but I'm going to get into it in a minute, but I've been studying the specifications, talking to friends that are flying it, and it turns out what they've done is sort of taken all the brain trust engineering that went into these earlier versions and built it into a brand new airframe that's less expensive, a little bit smaller, but it's got features that aren't available in these guys. So it's an evolutionary step from the EVO to the EVO 2 to the new EVO Lite. And again, I've got the Plus here, which is the bigger sensor, and I just can't wait to get it up in the air. So I just want to talk a little bit about the two models that are available because what they've done is actually release two drones. So the EVO Lite is the platform, and they've got the standard EVO Lite, which has got the smaller sensor on it. It'll shoot 4K video. It's got a 1/1.28 sensor, which is plenty big, and it does a phenomenal job of shooting video. The other unique thing they did, and again, I love these kind of innovative features, is they actually allow you to rotate the lens 180 degrees. So you can shoot vertical or you can shoot horizontal, which I think is going to be kind of a cool effect to play with. Now, this one doesn't do that. This is actually the Plus version, which has the larger 1-inch sensor on it. It can shoot 6K video, but essentially the airframe is exactly the same between the two models. The big difference is the camera package and of course the technology needed to sort of process the video coming back from that. Everything else is exactly the same. The other big difference with this one over the original EVOs is they've completely changed the controller, and I can't wait to get my hands on that. And I've done a lot of research on what the controller looks like, and I'm actually going to do a clip comparing the EVO 2 controller to the new EVO Lite controller because there's some fundamental differences in there that are super important that really make this a better flying experience, not the least of which is the live feedback from the drone on this one, if it's under a kilometer away, is 2.7K. You're going to get crisp video on that display. And if you go beyond a kilometer, it drops down to 1080p, which is pretty much what everybody else is delivering today. But I can't wait to get into it. I'm talking too much. So let me do the unboxing. And then what I'm going to do when I finish the unboxing, because I want to show you what's in the box. I know there's a lot of clips out there that talk about it. I always like to take a minute and unbox it in front of you so you can share my excitement because I haven't seen it yet. And then I'll take a closer look at the drone, the controller, whatever comes in the box, and explain everything you need to know about the drone from a physical perspective. So you know where the memory card goes, you know how to charge it, you know what connections are where, and all the rest of that good stuff. And that's all I'm going to do for today. So it's going to be an unboxing and a closer look. I promise you, as soon as I get done with this, it's a pretty nice day outside. I'm going to go out, put it up in the air, get my first flight out of it, put it up and get some footage in the fields and down by the shore and stuff. And I'll put some examples up in sort of a montage like I like to do on my first flight. But that won't be today. Today's the unboxing and closer look. But I want to give you the details you need to understand exactly what this drone represents compared to others in the market. And then I promise you, I'm going to do comparisons with this and the EVO 2. I'll do comparisons with this with a DJI Air 2S, which I think it's pretty close. A lot of people would say it's a Mavic 3 killer. I don't know if that's the case. I'll get into it and we'll see. Once I get it up in the air, I'll have a better idea of exactly what it represents. But I'm going to do a lot of comparisons between the two. And like I'd mentioned, I really think I need to do a clip specifically on the controller on the EVO 2 versus the new EVO Plus. And we'll see how that goes. But anyway, enough talking. Let me get inside the box. So I've got my little slice cutter here. It's a great product. I've talked about this before on the channel. Wonderful product from Slice. Let me open the box up. Here we go. Now this is available in I get so excited. This is available in a couple of different versions. Now I've got the EVO Lite Plus, which has got the larger 1-inch sensor on it, and it's also the premium package. Now let me spend a minute and talk about that. A lot of people ask me, hey, should I go for the premium package or just go for the regular package and buy the accessories later on that I need? Always go for the premium package if you can afford it, because it is more expensive, but what they include, in this case, 2 extra batteries, a bunch of extra propellers, a charging hub, those are all things you're going to need down the road. So if you buy it as a basic package, I promise you, the first time you put it up in the air and you fly for 40 minutes with it, you're going to think, man, I'd really like to fly a lot longer. I wish I had a second battery. You're going to buy a battery. That's going to be expensive. Then you're going to buy a third battery. And then you're going to think, how do I charge those batteries? One at a time? That takes forever. I got to get a charging hub. So you're going to end up buying a second battery, a third battery, a charging hub. That's all in the premium package. And when you add up the cost of this versus buying all those accessories, this is a way better deal. So always try to get that if you can. Put your dollars together and see if you can afford it. But for me, always go with the premium. Again, if you've got a budget for that. All right, enough talking. Let's get in here. All right, so we'll pop open the box. Wow, there's a nice little case in there. Oh boy. I just love unboxing drones. I just love it. All right, so let me get this guy out of the way and we'll take a look at it. All right, so for starters, really nice case. It's got a little, looks like a zipper on the front here, way to get in it. I've got a case to open it. This is nice. Got a flap in the front. I always like those flaps in the front because I can put a ham and cheese sandwich in there if I want, but it's a good place to store stuff that you got to get at. Maybe your cell phone or something if you're not using it. Nice Autel logo on the front. And again, it's a heavy duty case, got a nice handle on the top, shoulder strap here so you can adjust it, put it over your shoulder. I like having the bag handle on it too so I can carry it around that way. The outside is sort of a canvas material. It's not the typical black material you find on the leather manufactured bags. I like the canvas approach. Looks like it would brush off really well if I got it wet. And inside is all the good stuff. So let me get in there. So let me breathe this in a second. All right, so on the top, there's a little flap up top with a screen on it, and you can put all your stuff behind there, doodads or whatever you got to. But in there is a manual. So it's a quick start guide, a packing list, and a disclaimer and operation safety guide. So read through those. I always say that if it's a brand new drone to you, or your first time you're flying, or even if you're an experienced flyer, read the instruction manual. There's so much good information in there that you don't want to find out by doing something goofy in the field and having problems with your drone. So read through those. I also love the fact that they print them. A lot of times they'll give you a URL to go to read the manual online. I don't like that. I like having a printed manual. All right, so what else is in here? Oh, there's an accessory box. I'll open that in a second. Ooh, there's the drone. Woohoo! All right, here we go. Oh man, oh man. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, so it's the typical Autel orange, which I love because it makes it easier to see it in the sky. It's not going to get away from you. Sometimes if a drone is white or it's gray, you can't see it quite as far. Orange drone like this, man, you can see that quite a bit distance away. Now my eyesight, being a little bit older, is about 1,500 feet, is about all I can see some of the whiter drones. I find the orange color, this orange, this danger orange, I can see that a lot further. So it allows me to keep it in visual line of sight and get a further distance out of it. But anyway, there's the drone. It's still packed up. Everything is nice in its package. I'm going to peel this thing open in a second. There's the 1-inch sensor on the front. Man, oh man, this thing looks good. Now, the difference is this one will give you 3-directional obstacle avoidance. The EVO 2 gave you completely 360 degree, but this gives you front and back and down, but it's more accurate and it's also got a wider spread. So it's going to give you a really good obstacle avoidance to the front with a nice wide spread. Same thing down and same thing in the rear. And honestly, the obstacle avoidance, okay, it isn't on the sides, but I don't crash into things on the sides that often. And as you get to be a better pilot, you're probably not going to use the obstacle avoidance anyway, but it's available on there. Key features on this unit, again, it's a 6K on the front, 1-inch sensor. It'll fly 40 minutes on a full charge, which is pretty incredible. I know a couple of years ago, we thought 30 minutes was big, then 33 minutes. Now it's 40 minutes. It'll fly 15 kilometers, which is 12 kilometers, which is 7.5 miles. I got ahead of myself. 12 kilometers, which is 7.5 miles. And you're thinking, well, how can it do that? The EVO 2 couldn't fly that far. It's because of the controller. They changed the controller. The EVO 2 worked on a 2.4 gigahertz frequency, and that was it. And it did a great job, but that limited how far it can go because everybody's using some version of Wi-Fi to connect the controller to the drone. And what they have to do in the Wi-Fi is actually vary the frequency between 2.4, 5.8, and then have some kind of frequency hopping technology that looks at the binding connection with the drone, and if it gets weak, find another stronger frequency to jump to, and that's exactly what they've done with this new drone. So this one uses a new controller that uses 2.4, 5.8, and curiously enough, 5.2 gigahertz. So I've got to do a little more research on that, but that gives it that ultimate binding and frequency hopping capabilities that allow it to stay in tight connection with it to get it out 12 kilometers, which I think is phenomenal. And again, I always say this, you can't fly 12 kilometers in the US. You have to keep the drone in your visual line of sight. So why do they build a drone that can fly 7.5 miles? It's because maybe someday beyond visual line of sight becomes a thing. I think the FAA is working on it. That would be great for everybody, especially if you have a drone that's got crash avoidance built in. But today you can't fly further than you can see it. The important thing is having a signal like that that's incredibly strong, that can fly that far, means when you're flying it in close and you've got obstacles around you, a really noisy neighborhood with a lot of Wi-Fi signals, you're not going to lose the connection. It's going to be a rock solid connection so you can fly with confidence, which is really important. One of the things that I mention every time is people think, well, I'm in the woods. That shouldn't be a problem. There's no Wi-Fi around me. There's no buildings around me. Trees are your enemy. I've said that every time I talk about visual line of sight requirements. Trees have a high component of water content, and water blocks radio signals. So if you're flying in a forest and there's a lot of trees around you, dropping down behind a tree is just like dropping behind a concrete wall. So be really careful around those trees. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. So there's the drone. I'm going to pop that open in a second. Let's see what else is in here. Well, there's the charging hub. It looks like, yeah, it's probably the charging hub. Nothing down the front. That's where the drone slides in. What else have we got? We've got a cable. Oh, there's the charger. Okay, so the charger itself has got the standard Autel clip on the end of it, so you can pop this open. You can charge a battery at a time. If you get the premium bundle, you're going to get this charging hub, so this probably plugs in the end. Let me open it up and take a look and not speculate. Let's just take a look at it here. So I'm hoping this charges three batteries simultaneously. So essentially it looks like what we're going to do is we're going to connect this up to the end of the hub like that. And then on the top of the hub, you've got 3 places where you can slide batteries in there. And if it's like their other hubs, and like a lot of the other manufacturer hubs, there's brains inside here that's going to look at the batteries you plug in. It's going to find the battery that needs the least amount of charge. It's going to charge that first, and it's going to move on to the next one. So it's not, I'm betting, it's not a parallel charger, just based on the size of that battery. It's going to be a serial charger that's intelligent enough to move between those batteries. So there's your charger, and there's your hub. And also on the charger, there's another USB-A connection right there. And I'm sure there's a cable in here, probably in the accessory box, that allows me to charge the controller at the same time I'm charging my drone battery. So let's take a look at that next. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way. All right, so what I'm really interested in, okay, here are the 2 extra batteries. There's one, there's another one. Set these guys down. And then what else is in here? Oh, there's some desiccant in there. Don't leave this around. If you eat this, you can get really sick. Throw that out. Or better yet, put it in a Ziploc bag. I keep a Ziploc bag of these around from all the electronics I unbundle. The reason I keep them is because if you ever drop your phone in water, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, throw a bunch of these in there, and it'll actually soak up all the moisture from your phone or your electronics. But don't leave them around because kids love to eat them, and it's really bad. Oh, here comes the controller. All right, that's the controller. Is there anything else in there? No, that's pretty much it. All right, so that's, well, wait a minute, there is. Okay, there's an AC cord for the charger. You expect that. All right, so that's it for the kit. And here's the controller. Now, man, this is radically different. This is radically different. This looks to me like a game controller. I mean, it's got the same kind of game playing controller that you'd use on your Xbox or whatever. There's no joysticks on there. I'll have to check that. One thing I did hear online, which I think maybe they rushed it a little bit, and I think it's something that we have to consider, is that the joysticks are removable, but there's no place to store them on the controller. Now, I don't take the joysticks off because I have big old guy thumbs here, and if I'm in the field and I'm taking those tiny joysticks off, I promise you every time they go bing, and then they fly into the tallest grass around me, and I can never find them. But if you do take your joysticks off, you got to stick them in your pocket, or maybe there's some accessories out there that can help you stick them to the unit. But anyway, back to the controller. So what they've got is a really nice grip on the side, so it really feels good in your hands. It feels perfect as far as the physicality of it goes. It's very well balanced in my hands. Joysticks fall right under the thumbs. All the controls are on the front. On the bottom, it looks like I've got a USB-C charging port right there. On the top, I've got another USB-C right there, which I'm sure connects to your device, whether it be a phone or whatever you're going to connect up top. The one thing I'm a little disappointed in with a lot of the manufacturers nowadays is that, and this is, again, a disappointment. It's a small nick, but I got to say it, it's only set up for a phone. and most of us are flying with tablets, even something as small as an iPad 5, an iPad mini 5. It would be great if this extended another 2 inches to allow me to put a small tablet in there. So I'll have to work on that. I mean, we come up with accessories all the time. I can tell already we're going to need to put an accessory together to allow you to slap a tablet in there. So I'll work on that. But again, it's spring loaded. Phone goes in here. You connect up the cable on the side and you're getting ready to rock and roll. The other thing they did, which I like a lot, and this is one of the nicks people had on the last version of the controller, is everybody's gotten away from those individual antennas that pop up. The last one had antennas on it and people broke those pretty easily. With this one, the antennas are in the top, I'm assuming, and the cables are probably run up through here. So I'll spend more time looking at this, but my initial impression is I've got an antenna here, which again is perfect because it aligns the antennas downfield towards your drone, which is really tricky to do with these. I've seen people fly where they've got them crisscrossed or facing different directions, and you're not going to get a great signal downfield. So wonderful job there, but man, do I like this controller. I like this an awful lot. So I'll have to play a little bit more with that. All right, so that's pretty much your, oh wait, I forgot the accessory box. There's stuff in here too. Let's take a look at that. I almost said that's it for the review. Get that desiccant out of the way. All right, so let's see what's in the accessory box. Boy, there's a lot of stuff in there. All right, so for starters, there better be a set of joysticks in here. I'm going to be awful frustrated. Yep, there they are. Okay, so you got a pair of joysticks, which is nice. You get a bunch of cables. This is probably all the connection cables for the controller. Yep, okay. Did they give us all three? Yeah, they do. All right, so there you go. You got USB, looks like a USB-C. Yep, it's a USB-C on the controller end, and you've got a choice between USB-C, Apple 8-pin, or a micro USB. So if you've got any kind of phone that you're going to use with it, you got plenty of cables to connect it up to the controller, you're good to go. And as I mentioned, there's a micro, nope, I'm sorry, not a micro. Let me get this open so I can look at it. I'm assuming, and I'm right, yep, it's a USB-A to a USB-C cable, and this is for connecting up to your charger, and the other end of it connects up to your controller. So essentially, if you didn't get the premium bundle, you got a single battery, which you can charge directly from the controller. You can plug the USB-A into the controller, plug the USB-C into your your charger, and the other end into your controller. You can charge the battery and your controller at the same time. So really nice they included that. Nice heavy-duty cable, pretty long. It looks like a little under a meter, right around a meter. So plenty of room there to hang that out. What else we got? Oh, we got propellers. So there's 4 propellers on the unit. I've got 6 extra propellers. So that gives me a couple of different sets for changing. So I've got extra propellers to use on that if I need to. And again, you're going to need extra propellers. That's one of the other accessories that when you buy the basic package, maybe you get a set of propellers, you're going to hit stuff. It's just the way it is. When you're out there flying, you're going to be excited. You're going to be flying near trees. You're not going to realize there's a branch over there. You're going to nick a propeller off the branch. It may not crash, but if you nick a propeller, you got to change it. Don't fly with nicked propellers. So get extra propellers. And again, the premium bundle's got extra propellers in it, 2 extra batteries, the hub, all kinds of cool stuff. Oh, what have we here? This is really nice. So I didn't expect that. So there's a set of filters. Now I'm betting these are ND filters, which are neutral density, and I'll open this in a little bit. It looks like a little makeup case. It's kind of cool, but I like it. It looks good. So I've got 4 filters in there, and I'm betting they're like ND2, maybe ND4, 6, 8, 12, who knows. We'll open it up and take a look at it, but I like the fact that they built those in. Now, if you've never used filters before, not to get off on a sidetrack here, but filters are super important because what ND filters will do is knock down the glare. So if you're out on a sunny day, especially if you're flying over water or over snow or ice, you're going to get a ton of glare. ND filters will knock that down and really give you like a very cinematic approach to whatever your photography interest is or whatever you're doing in video. So ND filters are super critical. That's normally an accessory you gotta buy later, and it's very expensive. So with the premium bundle, again, I know I sound like a salesman here, but if you're going to end up buying batteries anyway, you know you're going to need propellers, you're going to eventually want a hub because you want to charge them all at the same time, and you're going to end up spending money on ND filters. You get it all in the package. So I think it's a really good job. Now, if you stay tuned, next what I'm going to do is take a much closer look at everything in here. Matter of fact, let me peel open this drone. I know I'm taking a risk here because I shouldn't be doing this live, but let me get a look at the drone because I didn't even open it up yet. So let me get my little slice here and pull this thing off. I am going to do a closer look at this, but again, I'm not doing this justice by not opening it up. Oh, man. All right, let me open the top. So you open the top first, pull those forward, and then open the back. Now, I always recommend when you open these, they're spring-loaded. Don't let them spring all the way open on their own. Hold them to the end of travel because you're going to snap them if you don't. Boy, this is a beautiful drone. This is a beautiful drone. Man, oh, man, oh, man. This is gorgeous. I can't wait to get this thing up in the air. Well, anyway, it looks like what they've done is taken fiber carbon fiber on the arms, which is great. And that's going to do two things for them. It's a very dense material, so it's going to knock down any vibrations that are coming from the propellers. It's going to make the chassis much more stable in the air. It's also very, very durable. The last ones were plastic. Not that that was a problem for me, but I love the fact that it's carbon fiber. This thing just looks like it means business, doesn't it? I mean, it really looks like a drone that says, just get outside, Rick, and get me up in the air and start flying me, for goodness sake. Quit talking about me. All right, so that's pretty much it for the unboxing. I get so excited when I'm talking about this tech. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Next, I'll take a closer look, and then I promise you, as soon as I can get these batteries fully charged, I'm gonna get outside, put this thing up in the air, and just have a whole lot of fun with it, and I'll record some video footage and give you comparisons of what it looks like up in the air. But for me, good on you guys over at Autel, because this, my friend, is a very competitive offering in that space. So again, unless something goes horribly wrong when I get it up in the air, I think this is going to be a winner for Autel. So stay tuned. And like I said, next we'll do the closer look. Then I'll come back with some final thoughts after I've had a chance to play with it a little bit. So stay tuned. With the EVO Lite Plus Premium package, you'll find the drone, the controller, 2 joysticks for the controller. You'll find a really nice carrying bag that'll hold the drone and all of your accessories, a charger that's got a specialized connector on the end that can be used to charge individual batteries or with the charging hub to charge all 3 at the same time. You'll also find an AC cord that plugs into this end. The other end plugs into any standard wall outlet. On the other end, you'll find a USB-A port that can be used with the included charging cable to charge the controller and your drone batteries at the same time. Also in the kit, you'll find 3 batteries, 1 with the drone and 2 additional batteries. A charging hub that's intelligent, will actually step through the batteries and charge them in order. You'll find a set of filters, and these are ND filters that can be used with the drone. They're custom made for the brand new EVO Lite. You'll find 6 propellers that are spares that can be used to change out any propellers that you nick or damage. 3 connection cables that are used with the controller, and these are both Apple, USB-C, and micro USB. And then finally, a series of manuals that include a quick start guide, safety and operation guidelines, a packing list, and understanding exactly how the hub works. There's a manual on that as well. Read through these because they'll give you a lot of really good details on how to operate the drone and how to take care of it. Now next, we'll take a closer look at the drone, the batteries, and the actual controller. The drone is nice and small and very compact when it's folded up, which makes it really easy to take it with you pretty much anywhere. Now to use the drone, you've got to unfold the arms, and to do that, you'll hold it firmly in one hand, start with the 2 top arms, and you'll swing those out towards the front of the drone, and then you can gently swing the bottom arms back towards you. Now one thing to be aware of is that these arms are spring-loaded, and when you get to about here in the travel, they're going to want to snap all the way open on their own. Don't let them do that, because if you let them go, the inertia of that swinging this direction because of the spring load on it will hit the end of travel and generate a lot of energy, which travels down the arm and can actually crack the joint down the bottom. So as anxious as you are to get up in the air, always hold these all the way through end of travel until they're finished. Now, as far as the propellers go, you're going to have to change propellers over time. One thing I recommend is after you fly, always inspect the propellers to make sure there's no nicks or dings or bug juice on them. I use alcohol wipes to keep them nice and clean. But if you do have to change the propellers, you'll find the orientation of these 2 are the same and these 2 are the same. Now, a set of these are clockwise, 1 are counterclockwise, and that's how it keeps balance in the air. But these will be the same propeller and these will be the same. And the way you can tell them apart is on the propeller itself. You'll see a white line right there, and there's no white line on this one. So to change the propeller, you'll push down on the propeller and spin the motor underneath it, and it'll basically release the propeller, and you can take it off. Now you can inspect both sides of it. If you need to change it out. And then to put it back on, you'll put it on the center post like that. Again, just gently push down, spin the motor, and it locks in place. That's pretty much it for the propellers. Now the drone itself has a big battery right here. It's a large battery too. I think it's 6175 milliampere hours. Yeah, that's a pretty good sized battery. It looks like it's about 11.13 volts DC, which gives us a 68.7 watt hours. So it's got a lot of energy packed inside there. It's a LiPo 3S, really reliable battery, very durable battery. But again, it's LiPo, so you got to be careful with it. Don't leave it out in the heat. Don't leave it in your trunk in the wintertime. You're going to cause damage to the battery. But sizable battery, and that's how it attains that 40 minutes of flight time, which is really nice. But to remove the battery, there are 2 little catches right here. You'll gently squeeze those and pull back, and the battery's unseated. Then you can replace it with another battery. You'll see there are 2 clips on the front that actually catch in here, and the connections are made across the back. So to put it in, you'll just let it sit in that little channel, push it forward, and you're good to go. To turn the drone on, I won't do it now, but you'll tap that and then hold it. It'll spin through its cycle and come up. If you need to know what kind of charge is on the battery currently, you can tap it once, This one's fully charged. I just finished charging them, so you see all 4 of those lights lit up. But if it's under 100%, you'll see 3 of these lit up. If it's 50%, 2 will be lit up, and you can do the math on that. On the rear of the unit, since we're here, I've got a vent right here where air exits. It comes in the front and comes out the back. You've got 2 binocular sensors. These are optical sensors in the back, and that's for your crash avoidance behind. And again, this has got a very wide field of view for those 2, so they're covering a lot of area behind the drone right there. On the sides, not a lot to look at except this little hidden door right here. If you pop that open, you'll find a USB-C connection behind it, and that can be used for transferring data off the internal memory or the memory card to your computer if you want to do it that way. The unit has 6 gigs of internal memory, plus whatever else you add to it, and I'll show you where that is on the other side. So if I flip it over, there's another little door hidden right here. If you pop that open, that's where your micro SD card goes in, up to 256 gigs. I recommend a 64 gig or 128 gig card, and change it halfway through your flying day, and that way, heaven forbid you have a crash with your drone, you've at least got the morning footage on a card in your pocket. Close that up before you fly. You want to make sure it's as watertight as possible. On the bottom of the drone, you'll find a lot of different sensors. There's an LED light right here, which helps with the landing. You can turn that on through the application. There are 2 stereoscopic visual sensors right here, which help with crash avoidance below, and again, very wide field of view. There are 2 sensors right here that are either time of flight or they could be VIO. I've got to look a little deeper into that, but those are when you're close to the ground, and the danger with those is that they don't handle reflective surfaces really well. So if you're flying this over water, try to keep it above 10 feet. Don't get too deep down there into the water because they get confused when they see a shiny surface, and you could have issues where it's going to take a dive in the water. On the front of the unit, 2 more stereo optic sensors right there, and these are used for crash avoidance in the front. So you've got stereo optics up front, on the back, and on the bottom, so you've got 3-way crash avoidance. And here's the camera. Now, the gimbal lock on this thing is really important. The way I like to take these off is I always like to lay it down on a flat surface. You could certainly do it when it's in your hands, but it's a little trickier to do it. And I'll hold the body. You'll want to pull this forward and release that latch first. Once you release the latch, don't try to yank it off this way. You'll flip it forward like that and pull it off. And then it's off your camera. And then here's the beautiful camera. Look at that thing. 1-inch 6K sensor. What a beautiful looking camera that is, huh? Gorgeous, gorgeous. 3-axis stabilized gimbal right here. You can see it's got, sort of flexibility in all 3 directions. And again, the gyroscopic control inside there, as well as the flight computer, keeps that rock solid in the air, even if you're bouncing around up there in the sky. Now to put this back on, it's always a bit of a challenging thing. You're going to want to clip these 2 feet in the front first and gently slide it back. Make sure the camera's oriented correctly. Slide it back, and then clip that in. You're good to go. When you're done for the day, you can fold it up. Just reverse the process from before. Again, hold these arms all the way in against the body, and then pull the top ones, and you're set. Put it back in your bag, and move on. The remote controller is a brand new design for Autel on this particular drone. It's used on the EVO Lite and I believe the EVO Nano as well, but I like it a lot. It's very similar to game controllers that you've used before. Again, the joysticks fall right under your thumbs, a very comfortable hold. I've got really nice contours over here where it's a gripping surface. It's not rubber, but it's sort of a hardened plastic, but it's got that sort of rough surface there where it feels really good in your hands. On the bottom, you'll find a USB-C port right there, and that's used for charging the device. You can plug that into the charger when you're charging your batteries and charge it. You could also use any standard USB charger to charge that. On the top of the unit, you've got your clamp right here for your phone, so you'll lay your phone in there, pull it open, lay your phone in, and clamp it closed. It'll hold the phone really nice. Behind that, you've got another couple of air outlets, again, because this is going to have to keep the electronics inside at a comfortable temperature. And then you've got another USB-C connection right there, and that's used with the included cables. You'll connect up the USB-C end of that cable here. The other end will match whatever you've got on your phone. So if it's an Android phone, it might be USB-C or micro. If it's an Apple phone, it'll be the 8-pin Apple connection. Now, as far as controls go, I've got a home button right here, so if you get in trouble out there in the field and you're worried about where the drone is and you're panicking, hold that for a couple of seconds. That'll initiate a return to home sequence. The drone will rise to a certain height that you've set, turn around and come back home and land where it took off. That's the power button. You'll hold that in for a couple seconds. The unit will turn on. You'll feel it vibrate a little bit. This LED stripe down here will let you know what your current charge is. Again, there are 4 bars. Full 4 bars is 100%. Right now, I'm in 75%, or somewhere between 75 and 100. I have to charge this yet. and then you've got a pause button right over here, and this is really handy. It's something you should definitely familiarize yourself with when you're flying. So go out and fly a little bit and hit that. What that'll do is stop the drone mid-flight. So if you're heading for a tree or something, this button is your friend. Hit that, it'll immediately stop the drone so you don't crash into something. 2 joysticks, again, you've got complete control. I'm a thumb guy. There are a lot of people that like to pinch. It's got a really nice rubber feel to it, so if you're a pincher, you're gonna love that. For me, I like these grips on the top for thumbs. And the last thing I want to mention was the controls on the top. So you've got 3. There's a function button built in over here that you can program. This is your gimbal control up and down. And then over here you've got your start and stop, record, and picture button as well. So you'll tap that and it'll actually start recording depending on which mode you're in. Take a picture or start recording. And that's pretty much it for the controller. To turn it off, you'll hold that button again for a couple of seconds. The unit will turn off and that's it. Last thing I wanted to show you is the filter kit, and I think this is a really nice addition that Autel built in, because you're going to need filters, and these are custom made for this brand new EVO Lite. There are 4, 8, 16, and 32, so they're all ND filters like I said before, and depending on the time of day you're flying and the type of sunlight you've got, you can try out different filters on the drone. They're going to really help improve your picture. And I think it's nice they've got a little case for them too. Now, I normally use like Freewell filters or somebody else's products, but I think it's great they've included these. I can't wait to get outside and try that drone and try these filters on it. I'm sure they're amazing. But what a nice addition to have that in the kit. So that's it for the unboxing and the closer look. I hope you found this clip helpful. I love talking about technology, and when I get my hands on a brand new drone like this, I am just so excited to take it out, put it through its paces, and see how it compares to other drones that I'm flying. Now, I promise you, I've got a lot more clips lined up. We've had some really inclement weather here in New Jersey. There's another snowstorm blowing through tomorrow, but the minute I get a clear day where it's above 35 degrees, I'll have this one up in the sky, and I'll take a lot of footage and give you some real good indications of exactly how it flies, and I have a lot more clips planned where I'm going to compare this to other drones from different manufacturers. I'll also compare it to the EVO 2 with the 1-inch sensor so you get a feel between the two and give you some impressions about the other tech that's built in, because there's a lot of cool things to explore here. Now, if you're interested in this product, I've got a link below where you can go check it out on Amazon. If you use that link, we get a little credit from Amazon for that. So if you'd like to support the channel, hit that link and help us out here a little bit. If you've got questions on this drone or anything I cover on the channel, please drop those in the section below under the comments and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And I love answering questions, so if you're wondering if this drone's right for you, drop me a comment and I'll do my best to answer your questions so you can make an informed decision. And that's pretty much it for today. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, happy flying.